You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bridge After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bridge After Show.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show for The Bridge. It's season 1, episode 11, and it was entitled Take the Ride, Pay the Toll, and it was a sad one, a tearjerker.
We're depressed.
We're depressed. We walked out of the room kind of like, what do we do now? And I don't know, but we have to do this, so we're doing this. I'm Paige Sullivan, filling in for Dave Klein. He couldn't be here today, and I'm also joined by Tommy. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tommy Rasera.
Yes, so this is a sad one.
That's good that we can talk about it, though. We can have like a
We
therapy
can let it
session.
out. Yeah, this is what Marco should be doing, but is not doing.
No, he's just getting mad at Sonia instead.
He's just a sad man.
Being very unruly.
Very, very much so. I mean, I guess we'll start it off before we dive into that, because the show started off with Tim being dragged through the tunnel yet again. It's just, they drag so many things through that tunnel.
He's gotten really good at it, and I mean, but the length, though, I think it's a lot shorter than we originally estimated.
Yeah, she must live on the border of Mexico. She must literally live in Mexico, because he's dragging crates full of guns, bodies, and it's just like, I mean, I don't understand.
I think we've narrowed it down to the length of a football field. I think that's a fair estimate.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because he wasn't that out of breath. He was just kind of.
I mean, maybe he took a couple breaks. Maybe he was just like, okay.
I mean, he didn't even have it on a cart. It was just dragging a body. I mean, that's not easy to do.
That's not even fair to Tim. You should have given him some protection.
Yeah.
Dragging him through.
For being old buddies, he was a little harsh on the dead body. If you were dragging your old buddy, dead friend down a tunnel, wouldn't you at least put some care into it, maybe?
Maybe wrap him in a blanket, make sure he's warm. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's like, Tim, you're starting to smell. I'm like, come on. Don't talk to him like he's alive, because he's not. He's not. But the weird thing to me was, so he opens the door, through the tunnel into wherever Graciela used to reside. And there's a bunch of dead people, and he's like, oh, it stinks. But then you, hear somebody in the other room, and it's like, do they really already smell? Maybe they just already smelled.
Wait, was there really somebody in the other room? Or was
that
it
guy
just...
was alive.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about
he
shot at Ray, so... I mean, they couldn't have been dead that long.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe they just smelled
But what was that dude doing? What was that dude doing there, hanging around still?
Maybe he was somewhat injured.
Or maybe he was the one that killed the
other people.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so that was a good way for Ray to kind of set up the death of Tim. Like in a shootout with the guy.
I think a good forensic team could figure that out, but I don't know. Maybe neither the Juarez nor the El Paso
Well, Juarez isn't going to care. I think the people who are going to care are ATF, because they had Tim as an informant. But I guess, Ray kind of covered his tracks in the fact that he had him shoot the gun. You know what I mean? And so he's going to have the gun residue on his arm, and it's going to look like he shot him. But and it's the same gun. The bullets are going to match. But then again, Ray's prints are going to be all over it.
True.
But so are that Mexican guy's.
Yeah.
The dead guy.
I think Ray is kind of screwed either way. Eventually, I think it's coming soon.
I hope so.
Whether it's this incident or the next. It is. Graciela's crew has gone downhill ever since she got whacked.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when one of them goes missing, it seems like maybe Fausto took over or somebody, And speaking of, we haven't seen, I guess we'll just mention it, we haven't seen Fausto in a couple episodes.
No.
We haven't seen Linder.
Where's Linder?
We haven't seen him in 2 episodes. So that storyline's kind of fallen to the wayside and made room for this big Marco plot, this Marco David Tate showdown that didn't end in our favor.
It did not.
Sad to say. But so everybody else has gone to the wayside, and I think coming next episode, we're going to see a lot more of that tie back in and play a role.
And this episode was really focused. I think probably one of the most focused of the season so far, because it kind of just had that one storyline. There wasn't a lot of ancillary characters. It was all just focused on the meat of the whole story.
Exactly. They gave us a little, a little peek into what Ray was doing, but outside of that, it was really just focusing on the Marco plot. Or if you want to call it the Goose plot, or the sad plot. It was so sad.
It was sad.
It's so sad. But, we start off, Wade finds out, he sees Sonia in the office, and he finds out that Marco went off with David Tate.
And this was the first thing ever I think that Wade has figured out, and I was very proud of him that he knew that Sonia was lying, which was I was very impressed. Go Wade.
And so she's not giving up on finding Goose, though. That she's very adamant that she needs to find him, and so she's not going to the hospital. She's not taking a break. She's just popping some more pills. I'm really hoping this doesn't lead to a dependency.
She looked like she was going to pass out the entire episode.
The whole episode, I kept saying, I think she's going to pass out now, or is she going to? No? Okay, she's good. She's good. Like, I really thought she was going to pass out.
You got to give her props. She's going strong after. I mean, I don't think she's slept since she was in the car accident. She's just been going full throttle.
Yeah, so, but while she's there and she's still trying, she said last episode, it's in the documents. So while she's still going through all of this, we know Goose is drowning, and we're like, come on. And he's really suffering in there, and, you can tell he's terrified, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we also noticed there's a glow stick in there. It's David Tate, unless it was, David Tate must have just put it in there so Goose could see how close he was to dying.
I mean, maybe it was there was just a glow stick in there, and it just...
Who keeps a glow stick in their water tank? Or whatever that was.
Mr. Chambers, maybe? I don't know.
Mr. Chambers just keeps glow sticks in there? No, I think he bought it. He bought it with the intention of putting Goose in there.
Yeah. Well, the glow stick or
no, the tank. Yeah. The tank. Maybe the glow stick as well. I don't know. Unless, he had it in his pocket and it just ended up in there with him. But... For the sake of the show, it gave us light into what was going on,
And the cinematographer also. So, but anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I did notice this week, our whole scheme last week of how Goose could have stopped the water from coming in by simply plugging it with his head or his feet. There was actually 2 spouts of water coming. I did not see that last week.
But he could have laid on his back.
Yeah, with the 2-prong, or he could have at least slowed it down.
With one.
And then he would.
And then he would have been alive.
Exactly.
Oh. If you haven't watched the episode, spoiler alert, he's dead. Unfortunately. We're very sad.
We are.
He was the one person I wanted to pull through this season. Anybody else could have died.
Yeah, we could have taken or leaving Fry. I was starting to like Fry, but
Marco, you know what? You got yourself in this situation. He could go.
I agree.
Alma.
Not Sonia though. Sonia.
Sonia wanted, but she wasn't up. She's not
up for getting killed. But you never know. They kill. They
killed Goose. He was the one person who was like, they're not gonna kill him. He's too likable. He's too lovable. We've fallen in love with Goose.
Even down that commercial break, I was like, the classic. It was a great cut to commercial. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be there, but no.
And they found him too. They found him in what we thought would be the nick of time. You know what I mean? And thanks to Sonia, I thought last episode when she was, because we obviously as viewers knew he was in this tank somewhere, and she was in that kitchen right after Marco left, and she was taking her pills and quiet. I thought that's when she would have found out about Goose. But then, she has this flashback in the office of her, listening to the water, and that's when she realizes where Goose is. And there's also a pamphlet in the documents that has the specific water tank.
Pretty good detective work by Sonia, once again.
Focusing on the details.
So why do you think, though, that's where it gets kind of hazy. Why do you think that... he put that, that water thing was in the book.
I think she thought of it because when they showed the flashback, there was when she looked up to the ceiling, they didn't show us this, but there was a pipe running across it, which wouldn't normally be there. So he must have redirected the water.
She pays attention to detail, that Sonia.
She really does pay attention to detail. I'm just surprised they didn't hear him. He could have been louder when they were in the garage. I'm sure he could have heard them. Maybe he couldn't have heard them over the water, coming in.
Yeah.
But, wouldn't they have heard that in the wall? I know there was plaster in front of it, but it's he was standing where his son was.
Maybe he was
standing
dead.
there.
Maybe he was dead though already.
Because we don't know. Yeah, we don't know a timeline of when he was
dead already when they got there, is what Sonia said.
Yeah, no, he was, because she reached in and to pull him, and he was dead. I don't know. Because we don't know exactly the timeline. We're seeing him drown as things are happening, so I assume that's how it's going down. But yeah, I'm really bummed about that. But while that's all happening, what I like is Sonia never gave up. She could have, even when she heard Marco's on the bridge with David Tate, she was like, I'm gonna go find Goose. I know where Goose is, which I thought was very noble of her and it was a wise choice for her because, Marco put himself in this situation. Plus, he can handle himself. Sonia needs to focus on what nobody else is focusing on, and that's the fact that Goose is drowning somewhere.
Yeah. Well, real quick though, you did. Congratulations on your prediction from last week that almost came true, but the bones were there for it.
Yeah.
With the Marco being forced to shoot Daniel Fry.
Yes. So we go to the bridge, right? And he, first off, it's like he's torturing Marco. He's going over the story, replaying what happened to Jill and his son, and just going and going and going. And then he stops his car right where his son was killed and his wife. And now he pins Marco against Daniel Fry, who was in the trunk. And Marco's like, oh, crap, like Daniel Fry's in the trunk. And I don't understand, like, I didn't think for a second Marco was going to shoot Daniel Fry. But if he was, I was hoping he would, like, shoot him in the leg or something, and then Daniel could pretend he was dead, like, oh.
Give him, like, the wink, like,
I got you. I'm a good actor. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he was going to shoot him either. But now, like, after what happened in the episode, I wouldn't put it past the show for something like that happened. But he didn't. I mean, what would you have done in that situation?
I don't know if I could have shot him. I mean, it's one of those things, like, they say, like a mother's instinct or instinct or a father's instinct. I think maybe I would have. I don't know. Like, if I really, really thought it would save my son, I would do it. But in this instance, we knew it wasn't going to save Goose, and I think Marco knew as well. This wasn't what it was. And, I mean, David's wearing this bomb, a dead man's vest that he's got all set up. So if either Daniel or Marco screw up, he's just going to blow up the bridge, blow up everybody. Whatever, but not whatever, but that's like his plan. But Marco even says, like, you're stalling, like, because he kept talking and kept saying, this is what Daniel did, this is why you should shoot him, he's everything you hate, he's the reason there's all these problems in Juarez, when really one person isn't the problem. The people in America doing cocaine aren't the cause of the deaths and violence in Juarez.
Yeah, I think that's maybe when it clicked with Marco, he's like, all right, he's already dead, or I think the wheels started turning, like, I think. Because he didn't, he would have said, how do I know he's alive? Or how do I know?
Well, I think he said that once. He was like...
He didn't get a good answer, though.
No, he didn't get a good answer. David just kind of, like, looked at his watch. Like, he knew how long it would take till he would die, which is just... It's just so sad, like, that he is willing to hurt, like, a kid. Yeah. To get back at an adult. I mean, you could have killed Marco, you could have done anything, but you had to go and kill Goose. And
I know.
You knew...
That's messed up.
And he got to know Goose. He was texting him and like... got under his skin and knew about his personal life, and then you just, like, rip it away. It's just in the coldest way possible. And punished him for what his dad did. And so Goose goes out thinking about his dad's the reason he's there. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's not blaming him, but...
Not cool.
No, not cool. But they're on the bridge, and he's in his vest, and so Hank luckily gets the sign, like, don't shoot him. He's got his vest on. We're out of control now. And then this whole stuff goes down between Daniel Fry. And Daniel Fry says nothing. He's just like...
I thought he was gonna say, like, just shoot me.
I did too. I thought he was just gonna be like, you can shoot me, dude. Like, just shoot me.
He didn't. But what was he gonna say? I don't know. I mean, it was kind of.
Even when he thought Marco was gonna shoot him, he just closed his eyes. Like, he was. It kind of felt like he came to terms with dying. Yeah. In that instant, you know. And then Marco can't go through with it, and unfortunately, David Tate can. In a sense, he shoots, Fry, and he falls off the bridge into the water. And it didn't seem like anybody really cared.
I don't think they did. Like, there was nobody like, hey, let's go get Fry. It was just like, all right, let's keep going on. What's up here?
Yeah, it was like you see Hank, and he's like, oh, and everybody's just like, whoa. And nobody's like, oh, FYI, there's a man drowning under this bridge.
That was a hefty fall, too.
Hefty fall. I know we were talking about it before we went live. It's just like, people have said, like, I remember people saying, like, if you fall, like, hitting water from that high up is like hitting concrete. Like, think about when you do a belly flop. Like, it's like... That
I even
hurts.
think when it says splash on the closed caption, I think it was all caps. That's how big of a splash it made.
Yeah, that's the biggest splash. And he was shot, so we didn't know like the extent of. And he was handcuffed, so he cannot swim. Yeah. I don't know if he just like maybe he just like floated. Like.
Do you think? I mean, Adriana at least should have went. Maybe I don't know. There was some team down there that fished him out of the water.
Adriana was just like, oh, Fry. It's like nobody cares.
How deep is that river too?
I don't know, but like I mean. We get to the end of the show and he's alive and not in great condition, but he's alive. So, but it's like they didn't show any effort. They didn't show him being. I don't know if they wanted us to believe he was dead.
Maybe they cut that scene for time.
Maybe they wanted us to believe he was dead.
Yeah.
But if for time though, because there was a long period of time where we're on the bridge and Marco's screaming. And there's that long period of time at the end where he's like running away from the morgue.
Just give us a squad car down there, like.
Yeah, like anything, just like a diver, like oh no.
And it was, I mean, how did he, like, would he kick to the side? Like, how do you...
No, I think he probably knocked himself out. I think he was out. I mean, he was out cold. Honestly, he must have just been floating. Or maybe they were down there and they just didn't show us that aspect.
They couldn't have 2 drownings in one episode.
No, they had to have us thinking that he was dead only to find out he was alive, I think. I think it was you know, they wanted us to know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Daniel Fry's alive.
But we agree he was in better shape than we thought he would be after that such a huge fall.
Yeah, from a huge fall. I mean, his face had some bruises and cuts, but I thought he would have been a lot worse off. Like the impact of that on your face, or wherever, however he went. Maybe he only landed.
Maybe he
on
went
that.
like feet first.
Broken legs, man. Yeah. That hurt. I don't know. He's in a world of hurt right now. But if this doesn't make him sober up, I don't know what will.
Could actually put him back in a downward spiral of
It could.
pills.
No,
and...
because you know what? Everything leading up to that point in his life was caused by his addiction.
That's true. But he's going to have to take some sort of painkillers.
Or he could just not. Right? I mean, if any of you watch The Real Housewives, if you're an alcoholic, you can't take pain pills after plastic surgery. So, word to the wise.
Lesson learned.
Well, that's where I assumed. So, I mean, but he had all these different addictions that led to the crash on the bridge, that led to him lying and taking money. It led to this moment.
I bet he was regretting taking that job in Houston, though, on that bridge.
And he doesn't even have the job anymore.
No.
The job's gone.
He's working for the El Paso Times.
He's working for a crappy newspaper, I assume. If any of you work for the El Paso Times, I apologize.
You just offended everyone watching this.
Everybody who's in El Paso, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, in terms of the television show, The Bridge, it seems like a crappy place.
They're portrayed as a crappy newspaper.
They're portrayed as a crappy newspaper.
Probably a fine
establishment, yes.
Yeah.
And Adriana is sticking by him as a friend, which I really appreciate. I really like her character.
Yeah, she's cool. Maybe we can't like her too much because they'll kill her too.
Because yeah, it's like the minute you find the one that you really like, it's like,
And then especially you, Goose was your guy.
Goose was my guy. I don't know why. That teenage angst and like that wanting to be loved, and he went from being like Goose got in trouble again or Goose did this, like the first episode, like Goose is in his room, like as if he was a bad person, and then you realize he's just looking for attention. He just wants somebody to care about him. And my question is, where's his mother? His his biological mother.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they split up because Marco cheated, but does that mean she went off the grid? Did she abandon Goose completely? Where is she in this? And then where's Alma? We don't even see her.
Alma doesn't know yet, probably.
She must know. If Marco's already out of the hospital visiting Goose, she must know.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Not that I want to see her upset, but I kind of wanted to see them knowing. I wanted to see her knowing what happened.
That's true. Maybe next week.
Maybe next
week. They did not show that in the next on, though. So.
No, they didn't, so it's probably not going to happen. But also on the bridge, Daniel Fry goes toppling over, and then now it's kind of just a showdown between the two of them.
Well, here's where it gets tricky, like the bomb thing. Now, the little device that he could control the lights and the bomb with was pretty impressive, first off. But then he put his thumb down, and it said it's live. Like, if I move my thumb off, it blows up. But so how did it deactivate? Did we? Or
was he just bluffing?
Maybe.
I mean, he could have been bluffing, or he could have just known how to deactivate it, Yeah. I don't know.
He could be bluffing, that's true.
He could be bluffing, or it was like one of those things where he could set it and like, he set it so that if somebody did shoot him, it would go off, but when he was ready to shut it off, he has another hand, there might be another button
that's
to
true.
be like, I'm all done with this, shut the bomb off.
I wonder if like a sniper would have hit him. Oh, no, his thumb would have came off.
His thumb would have come off. So, yeah, but he takes this off, and then it's just like a showdown between the two of them. And he wants Marco to kill him. And that was that really the grand plan? I'm going to kill all these people in Mexico. I'm going to kill people, in America. I'm going to kill this little girl and a doctor and Gedman. And I'm going to kill all of these people solely so Marco can be just as bad as I am.
I still don't see what the problem would have been with that. Like, would have Marco gotten in that much trouble?
I don't think so, because I think it would be self-defense.
Yeah.
It would be self-defense. You're on a bridge with a guy with a bomb. He takes the bomb off. They're ready to snipe him anyways.
Exactly.
Shoot him. You have the jurisdiction. You're a cop.
I mean, yeah.
Honestly, do you think they would have persecuted Marco?
No, I don't think so. I mean, for the Fry thing, maybe. But not for, for Tate.
But he didn't kill Fry.
No, exactly, if he had.
So he could kill Tate, and that's what Tate wants.
Why does Tate want it, though?
Because I think Tate wants him to feel the pain of his son being dead.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think Tate wants to be out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He
is in pretty deep.
Yeah, he's in pretty deep. I think this was his escape. He's like, I did everything I wanted to do. Now I'm out, and now I'm leaving this burden with you. Mm-hmm. It's like, now you feel the weight of this on you because you were the person I was aiming for after all of this.
Yeah.
He was the one person he was targeting.
But, I mean, and he said he wanted him to be like him, but I don't think that would have made Marco like Tate. I mean, I don't think Marco would have felt too bad about that.
I don't think Marco would feel bad about killing Tate, but Marco maybe would go off the deep end seeing as Goose is dead.
That's true.
You
Well,
know,
he's
I
still
mean, you
gonna
know,
go off, he's still
he's
going
going
that route
he's
anyways.
going off the deep end, but he and Tate just keeps saying these things that are gonna piss Marco off. He's like, do you want to know how my son died? He drowned in his own blood. And then it's like, okay, that's why you're drowning, Goose. And you keep saying he's in this dark, cold place all alone. Like, why would you say that?
He's giving hints.
He's giving hints, but it's just like you're torturing this guy.
Yeah.
You're torturing him. If I lost somebody like that, I would never want somebody else to feel like that. But that's his ultimate goal, is to make Marco feel like what he felt.
Which he's done. But here's the thing, though. I mean, back to like the killing Tate. I mean, he's alive still, and I think an alive Tate is still a dangerous threat, as we will probably see in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, in the preview, he has this little smile, but
he can still operate from wherever he is, and I still think there's somebody else on the outside involved.
Well, there's a bigger picture that we're still missing. Linder's involved. Ava, the girl, she's involved. Fausto's involved. All of these people still play a part in this big game. Even in Charlotte, all of this is going to come together at some point. So I feel like Dave does have something to do with it, but I think he was ready to let go, because I think Marco would have killed him had Sonia not been there.
But there was probably, I mean, Dave is such a calculated guy. There's probably, for each scenario, killed or not killed, there was like a big
domino effect.
plan.
Yeah, it's like when one thing happens, then a bunch happens after that. I guess so. Well, but it's when Sonia stops Marco. Well, first off, Sonia tries to lie to him and says that Goose is alive, and
I believed her.
I believed her, but
We just wanted to believe her.
We wanted to believe her. The minute we came back from commercial, though, I was like, oh, I think he's dead, because you saw in her face when she was running to the car, like, not happy. And,
She got there mighty fast, by the way.
She got there very fast. And it's so sad because, he taught her to tell people what they want to hear and to, do what you think they need. And she did that, and it, now he's holding it against her.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating, though, too. Like, he just wanted to know. We were just like, shout it out. But maybe I think the fact that she was lying is why she didn't shout it out from halfway down the bridge. And
yeah, because he was like, Sonia! And she didn't answer, even after
like,
she already yelled. We're like, just say he's alive. Say he's alive. Maybe that was just for us. We're like, come on.
But then, I mean, Sonia made a very... I mean, I think that was a kind of a big arc for Sonia. I mean, the lie last week and then the lie this week, I think that was a big change for her as a detective.
Yeah. I know. She's a liar now. She doesn't like liars.
But yeah, then of course the turn of events where she shoots Marco, just to save him from shooting Tate, which I'm still a little on the fence about.
I don't know. I think she is so focused on what David Tate wants, this and wants this and wants this, and she thinks probably that if Marco kills David, he gets what he wants, and that somehow has an effect somewhere else. So if he's not dead, then maybe she can solve this further.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think it all goes back to her her sister who is dead.
Yes.
And how she really wishes her murderer could tell her why and could give her some clues. And he can't because he's brain dead. And so I think that's where that lies.
There you go.
She couldn't get anything, and now maybe Marco can get some answers. Or any of the families who lost somebody can get some answers from David Tate.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking that's where it comes from. I could
damn
be
good point.
I could be off, but I'm thinking
completely
that's where
forgot about that whole thing.
Well, because it feels so long ago. We haven't had mention of that in a very long time. We have come so far from the first episode.
We have.
We didn't even know who David Tate was.
We haven't seen Linder in like a month.
2 weeks, yeah. I know. He has to be back. Well, we see him come back next week in the preview, so he'll be back. No fear, Linder's here.
There's a lot of people going to be making comebacks next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week's episode. But so this really just ends, everybody's in the hospital. Well, everybody in the, that was injured. Fry's in there, and Adriana's visiting him, and then Marco's in there. Sonia visits him because, prompted by Hank, he says, you're his friend, and Marco proceeds to tell her that they're not friends.
That made me maybe a little sadder than Goose's death. Marco telling Sonia that they weren't friends. I mean, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, and Sonia never wanted to be his friend. She wanted to be his partner. She never wanted to have to lie to him to make him feel good or tell him what he wanted or get attached to Goose,
Like, I know Marco's going through some stuff right now, but I mean, he was a little harsh, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I thought he was really harsh. It's one of those things, it's like you're feeling pain, but does everybody else have to feel it too.
Yeah.
You know, let them be there for you.
Why do you think he's most mad?
Because he knows it's his, not, you know, it's not his fault Goose is dead. It's David Tate's fault.
Yeah.
You know, he had no control over David Tate, but he probably is going to blame himself for a long time because he's the one who cheated with David Tate's wife. He's the person Jill was running to. He's the reason David Tate went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's ultimately the reason Goose is dead.
Yeah. I really would like an apology next week, though, from Marco to Sonia. I think it's...
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, about that thing in the hospital. I didn't
My
mean
bad.
any of that.
We're friends. Friends? No. I don't know.
Too
I
soon?
don't see that. I don't see that happening. But you know, that was a sad way to end it, and it's also devastating to end it. Sonia's face was like, okay,
Mhm.
like he screams at her to get out of the room,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, okay.
I thought she was going to explain why, like, I had to because,
Yeah.
but we didn't get that explanation.
No, because she doesn't know what to say. She even
Yeah.
told Hank, she's like, I don't know what to say.
And she walked in there with an awkward, like, hey.
She's like, hey. And but she had this weird smile the whole time. And did you notice when David Tate fell to the ground when he wasn't killed, he was smiling the whole time too?
Yeah. It was a more eviler smile
Yeah,
than,
he's
say,
so
the
screwed
Sonya one.
up.
He is. He's really messed up.
He's scary. I'm scared to see like what's coming next from David Tate. Honestly, I'm nervous.
Something's going down.
Yeah.
Bigger than way outside the circle.
Do you think we're gonna get? We see Marco saying goodbye technically to Goose in the morgue, and he hugs him and cries on him, but it's very quick, very quick. I mean, I'm sure it's extremely painful.
Did you? Were you hoping for Goose to wake up?
Yes,
in
I
that too?
was. When he touched his heart and then touched his own heart, I was like,
His eyes open.
yeah, I was like, did you feel his heartbeat? That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe you were like checking, like, was that?
That
me?
would have been a whole like another supernatural storyline to introduce. I mean, it was a little too late to introduce that into the
into the plot
season, but it would have been kind of cool.
Would have been that would have thrown me for a loop. I would have been okay with it if
Yeah.
Goose was alive. I'd be like, yeah, yeah. I don't know. He's like, no, my heart rate just really slowed down. You know, I was really trying to play it cool.
He's like, yeah, David Tate told me to do this. Like,
it's fine. It's fine.
all good.
Yeah, no, I was secretly hoping for that, but really, that's how the show ends. You know, he's walking away, and we
A
don't.
long walk away.
Long walk away. I think obviously that was to let it settle for all of us, but we
Yes.
walked out of the room just like, probably the same way Marco was walking. We were kind of just like, okay.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. I'm sad.
It wasn't even. Yeah, that was bad.
It was really bad. It was really bad. It was an intense episode. It sounds bad because the past 2 episodes I've been looking for something intense like this to bring out my emotions, and then I get it, and I'm like, no.
I really think this was the best episode of the season so far. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
It was emotional. It was exciting. It was everything.
It was the most cohesive too, and it was
Mm-hmm.
it was good. It was a solid episode.
Yeah, and I think from here on out, it's just gonna get a little trickier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the characters are changing. Sonia, we already see her changing. You know, Marco's changing. Fry's probably gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is gonna be a shift, and we're gonna end out the season on a different note.
Yeah, I mean I think next week is going to be a big setup for the finale.
And then the finale will set us up for season 2, I think. I think it will be like the catalyst for what we're to expect. I mean, these are all predictions, but, it was a crazy episode. It was a lot to handle. And if you're sad, we're sad. So tweet me your pain because I feel it too.
Send Paige some condolences.
Yeah, some condolences for Goose. He's my favorite. But, hopefully we'll see him in another show and we can do that one on AfterBuzz maybe sometime. But in the meantime, before we get into news and gossip, or this can be part of our news and gossip actually, if you guys are AfterBuzz team, Kevin and Maria, they worked really, really hard on the Serial Buddies, the movie, and it is finally out on DVD. So if you didn't have a chance to download it on iTunes or to watch it in theaters, this is your chance. Download it or buy the DVD, whichever works best for you, but it is out. And I think we all need a laugh after this death. I mean, there's death in Serial Buddies, but,
It's more funnier.
It's funny. Yeah, it's a lot more funny than this death was. And also, a little news and gossip. One of our fellow Bridge watchers, Lois Elfman, she got the opportunity to interview Goose or Carlos. And it's actually a very nice interview. It's online. She tweeted it at me, so I'll just retweet it for you guys to find. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Paige Sullivan. But it's interesting. It just talks about the whole season and what he thought of it, his role. Because this is kind of his breakout role in television. Unfortunately, it's over before,
It was taken away way too soon.
Taken away way too soon, in my opinion. But if you're a Goose fan like we are, or just a fan of The Bridge, definitely worth checking out. And so, I mean, now we'll just wait and see what happens and, see what your predictions are.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
What are your predictions?
All right, so I'm finally going to take a step away from my Charlotte
pregnancy?
pregnant. Yeah, because it hasn't happened yet. I'm still in the back of my mind. Maybe it'll happen. But I think that the dude the Linder's been hanging out with at the camp, I think he's somehow connected to Tate and somehow involved when this thing goes outside of the Tate world. I think he's some sort of connection, like a Childress relationship.
He's creepy. I don't like him.
I think he's up to no good, and I think we will find that out soon enough.
Yeah, and the previews gave us kind of a hint that something bad happens to Ava, so he could be tied into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wonder, Stephen Linder's sister's been missing. I think we're going to get it, or, missing in action in his life. Maybe we'll get an inside peek at that eventually, now that we're coming out of Marco and we're going into everything else. I mean, from the previews, we get to see that Sonia's going to try and bring Marco out of his funk and say, you need to help me find out who's killing these girls and who's doing this and who's doing that. And solve the murder that kind of started it all, which was Cristina Fuentes and all of the girls in Juarez. So my prediction is that they're all just going to, all these storylines are going to collide, and it's going to be one big mess.
It's going to be a mess, definitely.
It's going to be a huge mess, and they're going to leave us wanting more. But we'll have to wait and see. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, even though it was very sad. It was a great episode. And tweet me, follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Paige Sullivan.
And Thomas Jayr on Twitter.
And make sure you tune in next week. We're 2 episodes away from the end of this season. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.